It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. Today we've got a beer from Tenby Harbour Brewery and it's a bottle of their RFA Sir Galahad. It's a red ale coming in at 4.6% ABV. I was down in Tenby just last weekend. I love the place. It's one of the most kind of amazing places in the world for me to go and relax. It's about an hour and a half drive from where I live in Barry. It's down in West Wales and it's a town which is 1,000 years old. Can you believe it? 1,000 years old. It's a walled town, an old Norman town. And it's kept a lot of its history. Not a lot has changed. They've opened a brewery there and this is the first time a brewery in 1,000 years has opened and bottled beer, brewed and bottled beer in the walled town of Tenby. Quite exciting. Red bottle cap. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. Nice bit of smoke on the opening. Beer in the glass then. Now as I mentioned, I was in the brewery. I popped in and I did have a half of this. And I really enjoyed it while I was down there in the wonderful Tenby sunshine. Met the owner of the brewery, really nice guy. He sat with us, he gave us about 20 minutes of his time. We talked about beer and he did the whole kind of brewing school thing. He was actually in Ludlow just in, I think it was May, just gone, a few months ago. Didn't know him, I was there as well, but didn't know him to go and speak to him. But maybe next year we'll go and share a pint together at the Ludlow. Or maybe even the Great Welsh Beer and Cider Festival in October in Cardiff. Maybe we can kind of grab a beer together there. But yeah, this is a one finger, slightly off-white head. Nice levels of move-in carbonation, most definitely a red ale. You can see that just by looking at the beer. It's a well-presented beer. It looks very nice in the glass. Should we get the aroma? And you get that typical red. Let's have a look at the malt, shall we? I have a certificate, a little bit of paper here. Sorry, I don't normally read bits of paper, but I'm really interested with the red malt. So they've used Maris Otter, Crystal and German caramel malts with British First Gold, Pioneer, American Cascade and Williamette hops. So it's going to be that German caramel malt that gives that lovely red ale feel to the beer. If you put a blindfold on me and give me a red ale, I would be able to identify it just for that lovely malt. I'm a big fan of red ales, one of my favourite styles. Should we dive in? Cheers. Oh, it's quite rustic. It is quite rustic. It's quite spicy. Then you get some real jam tart flavours coming through. It's nicely carbonated. That carbonation pushes the beer around the inside of the mouth. It releases more of that flavour. It gets the beer down the back of your throat and that carbonation kind of just tickles you at the back of your palate and it helps to release more of the flavour. And that flavour is toffee, caramel, biscuits, and yeah, that American Williamette and Cascade spiciness and fruitiness on the back end. Yeah, that'll do for me. That's a nice red ale. You can see the beer carbonated in the glass. You can see the carbonation moving slowly through the beer. But it's only when you get the beer in your mouth that you really get the full potential, the full max of this carbonation. I'm not saying it's Hefeweizen carbonation or Saison or Lambic carbonation where it's quite kind of violent, almost like champagne carbonation if you're new to beer. I'm not saying it's kind of that raging carbonation, but it's enough of that carbonation really to just, as I mentioned earlier, release that lovely flavour that's in the beer. Unlock it, if you like. It's a nice beer. It's a nice beer. Let's see if it's bottle conditioned. I'd probably say it's a little bit unfiltered. So presentation wise, RFA Sir Galahad, let's give this a little bit of a read first. Was a Tyne-class lifeboat named after the Royal Fleet auxiliary vessel that sustained an attack in the Falklands War. Pardon me. The RFA Sir Galahad was the last boat to be housed in the original and iconic corrugated lifeboat station. It served the seagoers of Tenby and the south coast or southwest coast for 20 years before being replaced by the current Tamer class Hayden Miller. Rating for this beer then. It's been presented very well. If you went to the brewery and you picked up a pack of these beers, I've reviewed 3 now. The North Star, this RFA Sir Galahad, and the MV Enterprise Pale Ale. And if you bought these beers, I think they're £3 a bottle, so if you bought the 4, it's £12. You won't be disappointed. Although we still got one more to go, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be a decent beer. You won't be disappointed at all by these lovely beers that they've presented in this nice kind of cardboard box. Not so nice now because I've opened it and slightly ruined it a little bit, but if you're in Tenby, check out Tenby Harbour Brewery. Let's rate it. I'm going to give you that beer for the caramel, for the carbonation, for the lovely kind of spicy American hops on the back end. Again, I've given the 2 beers previous an 8 out of 10. This beer joins it on an 8 out of 10. It's a really good beer. It's really worth kind of looking at and enjoying. 8 out of 10. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom and cheers.